Okay, hello and welcome back to the EFB Academy. Now, for this video, we'll be discussing team selection and onboarding. So just like any other AIESEC function, any other AIESEC activity, or even any activity that involves people, the people are actually who make it work or break it. And that is why selecting a team and onboarding it successfully is a crucial part of forming a successful entity finance board. So just going back to why an EFB is important, EFB is the ideal setting to gather a pipeline for finance positions within an entity. That's why selecting a team that you know would go through that pipeline into higher and higher positions is important. Having an EFB means that a large part of the responsibility for internal financial processes can be delegated, right? And that is part of the experiential learning process for the pipeline who is being developed for bigger and larger financial roles. But yes, essentially, these operational things can be delegated, while the MCVP finance and the MC have more room to focus on strategy, to focus on office management and other responsibilities. So these two roles, the EFB and the MCVP finance, they complement each other and they help each other overall. Every EFB will be assigned with the consultancy manager from the GFB, helping them and guiding them through the entire process, and having consistent communication with the GFB as a formal body that is standardizing financial procedures across the board. And then having an EFB can lend increased levels of professionalism to the financial processes, statements that are released, or any other operations or financial operations within an entity, encouraging LCs to engage more with them. So how is an EFB or an entity finance board typically structured? So you'd have the EFB chair, you'd have underneath it the audit responsible, the accounting responsible, and then you'd have the data management responsible. So these are three crucial areas. And then when there is a pipeline, when there are people applying, we usually have room or have the capacity to open a risk and research responsible. So that really sums up the four focus areas that we have within the GFB, and they are reflected into the EFB. But it is audit, accounting, data management, risk, audit and accounting, and data. It's very important to have someone responsible, to have members or like a singular member or multiple member according to the density of transactions and financial operations that you have in your entity. But these three are very important to have. The risk and research is a very good complement and a very good addition and an important addition to have. But oftentimes when there isn't a very strong pipeline or applications to the entity finance board, this role is usually merged into, or the responsibilities for risk and research, they are merged in with the EFB's chair's responsibilities as well. So again, the value proposition for the chair differs from the EFB member. As an EFB chair, the applicant will be responsible for managing a team. So you will be managing a team, and that, I believe, is the most important role for a chair. They will be overseeing projects across different areas and developing their employability as well as their skills in project management. And this is a transferable skill across any specific focus you may go into. So that is a very crucial skill that the chair needs to have, because oftentimes they aren't the exact people executing as much as they are managing the team. EFB chairs also have a great deal of responsibility and gain experience in many areas of finance inside of AIESEC and outside as well, making them a strong candidate for higher and higher roles, especially those in finance, again, either within AIESEC or outside. The entity finance board or its chair may be a relatively new role in the history of AIESEC, but it is an ultimately great role, and it's very important for the sustainability of AIESEC and the longevity of the organization. Now, for the member, as an EFB member, there are and will be a lot of opportunities to interact with a variety of AIESECers from different entities. And this is culminated through, it could be through your direct team. So you have multiple people from different entities, from various different entities, yes, or within commission calls that you have as an entity finance board, where you come together with the members and the boards of different entities, you share ideas, share good case practices, you know, discuss, engage with one another through these touch points. Now, EFB members have the opportunity to put their financial knowledge developed through their studies, because they often do come from financial backgrounds, but that is not a, you know, exclusive condition. You do not only have to come from financial background to be part of the EFB, but that is often their interest. And, you know, this position essentially supports their education through, again, an experiential learning opportunity, and builds them as stronger financiers. Now, EFB members get the chance to deliver real impact for their entities through working closely with the MC team. Again, you get to see the inner workings with the MC teams and other senior stakeholders within the entity, whose sole responsibility is to improve these financial processes and to optimize them and to generate and increase profitability within the entity. Now, the applicant's profile for the entity finance board. Now, again, for each, let's say, knowledge area, whether it's accounting, audit, risk and research, or data management, there's a different profile, but they're all unified with the same applicant profile. So the applicants typically have a good AIESEC background, so they are experienced with AIESEC. They come from any sector, any background, but they have a natural experience where they enjoy the F&L area. That's why they're gravitating towards more roles in the financial realm. And their role involves working with the Finance Commission and helping them to train better financiers in the network. Additionally, for the chairperson, prior leadership experience is highly, highly encouraged, and leadership within AIESEC, because, you know, they know all of the, let's say, modus operandis for AIESEC management and AIESEC leadership ways. And the academic background, as we've mentioned, coming from a finance-related course and having an appreciation, most importantly, for finance is ideal, but it's not mandated. So it's not just like a condition that they always have to have. However, adaptability and eagerness to learn is equally as important. So if you have an applicant that doesn't necessarily have a finance background, but they're eager to learn, eager to grow, eager to develop, especially in a rigorous, you know, area such as finance, then they usually fit this profile, especially if entering this role from an unrelated background. Experience with finance inside of AIESEC is probably more crucial than the academic experience, however, because again, AIESEC and its intricacies are important to navigate what is to come forward. Agent experience. Now, they typically are between 20 and 25, as some AIESEC experience and previous roles are useful to have, but EFB is a demanding role and would be difficult to carry out alongside too many other responsibilities. So it is important for an EFB chair to not have other roles inside of AIESEC. That is the ideal condition, while it is expected that at least some members might have current roles in their LCs, or they've just finished their roles within their LCs and are looking for another AIESEC opportunity. Now, skills, good communication skills, high self-motivation, and good attention to detail. And let me emphasize that again, good attention to detail are very important for all roles, because these are important for finance overall. Yes, as I was saying, for the chair role, good product management is very important, as well as skills in objection handling, because the EFB is often not that well understood by other stakeholders. So handling objections and essentially explaining them and getting to a common ground or an agreement is something that is important for the chair to have, really. Now, going into the exact profile of each focus area. Starting off with the audit responsible, they are responsible for taking the leading role in financial and legal audits and supervising the audit process within the entire entity. Again, this happens in alignment with MC, of course, but this is the EFB's audit responsibility, ensuring also a high threshold of compliance and integrity in all financial records, and that compliance happens in regards to like accounting and financial principles, but also legal compliance to the entity's national compendium, let's say, for example, and the entity's the country's laws and regulations as well. So the roles and responsibilities include supervising the auditing process of entities, again, guarantee a certain threshold of compliance, and lead the process of financial and legal audit. KPIs or the profile, let's start with that. They have strong analytical skills. They have, again, attention to details, and they are capable of methodical work because auditing is a standardized process with, you know, the 5 steps and going on from like 1 through 5 in a methodical way to ensure that you've covered everything and, you know, left no gaps. For the KPIs, it includes the number of audit reports that are delivered, the percentage completeness of the data, and the percentage audits compliance, again, legal compliance and financial compliance, which takes us to the percentage of auditing finance standard fulfilled. The benefits of a audit responsible is that they supervise the auditing process of entities, they lead the process of financial and legal audit, which are both like very, very important things in the act of, you know, developing the capacity of the pipeline for finance within the entity. For the data management responsible, they're responsible for collecting, consolidating entities' financial data, because without that data, you know, none of the financial operations, including audit, accounting, and so on and so forth, can be carried out effectively. But it's also important that they use that data to generate financial analysis reports that ensure transparency of the data collection and conducting, you know, fair and proper, let's call it, analysis in essence of the data that reflects the actual standing of the entity, the financial health of the entity. And then, you know, it's important to develop capacity on that end as well, you know, measuring these metrics and reporting on them is something that is not, especially in data management and using, you know, softwares and tools, is not something that is a common skill, technical skill that is present within everyone. That's why data management responsibilities are also, they also have the responsibility to conduct education on the measures that they use to ensure the sustainability of the pipeline, first and foremost, and second is to ensure the sustainability of these practices and ultimately the entity's financial health. The roles and responsibilities, they generate financial analysis and reports, they ensure transparency in financial data collection, collect and consolidate entity financial data, and education on, you know, that reporting. And that could also, that type of education includes, you know, software education such as MySQL, which is often used in abundance in the data management area, but also data visualizations through using Power BI, through using, you know, Google Data Studio, so on and so forth. Now, for their profile, they usually excel in Excel. So it's very important that they have that technical skill and capacity. They know how to use Excel or spreadsheets. Again, attention to detail, specifically data management, and knowledge in data visualization tools, because the data is only as important as how you can visualize it and communicate it to the stakeholders that eventually are responsible for the decision making. Now KPIs include the number of reports that you generate, financial statements as well, the percentage efficiency of data collection and the percentage accuracy as well of the data. the percentage efficiency of the accounting process is complete, and the completeness of the data. Benefits, they have hands-on experience on data analysis, they have enhanced GDPR knowledge, which is global data protection regulations or data privacy regulations, and data interpretation, visualization, and presentation skills. So for a data management responsible, for a data management member, often the case is that the person recruited does have a background in data management, does have a background in coding and data analysis overall, and they're interested in building their capacity on that end. For the accounting responsible, they are responsible to support in the implementation and management of accounting software inside of the entity on an LC and an MC level. And this is overall, I would say, a common thing for the entire EFB is that they work with the MC and LC on a consistent basis, on a consistent manner as well. So they are that bridge between them, or they they complement the communication between the LC and the MC level. And they conduct education on accounting practices as well. So their responsibilities, they're responsible for accounting support. For LCs, they deliver education on accounting, again, to sustain the pipeline, and they support an accounting system. So whatever the system, the software is being used, they reinforce it and they provide support on that front. For their profile, they do have knowledge in these accounting systems and in basic accounting as well. Again, oftentimes it is someone who does have a background in accounting, but it's not a crucial or like a mandatory thing. They have project management capabilities because some accounting projects, such as transferring from one accounting system to another, could be a prolonged project, and therefore you need effective project management capabilities. And then financial knowledge, of course. For the KPIs, it includes the percentage of accounting reports presented and presented correctly, accuracy of data, efficiency of data collection, and that definitely relates to the synergy with the data management responsible. But the benefits also include experience in financial accounting, reporting, and compliance, and enhanced technical accounting capabilities, in addition to in-depth understanding of accounting softwares. Now, for the risk and research responsible, they have the responsibility for the implementation of risk management, so contingency planning and the mitigation efforts surrounding it within the entity, yes, including the risk assessments, reduction of risks through the mitigation plannings, and also providing education on risk and risk mitigation. So they do a general financial analysis of the financial statements and reports. They ensure transparency of financial data collection, and they also communicate their findings within these financial analyses through the risk assessments. So when they assess them, they see how much risk, how much room for improvement do we have, through essentially doing the risk matrix, through doing a SWOT analysis, through doing a pest analysis, and they deliver it to the decision-making responsible. Their profile is they have a strong background in risk assessment, and that background essentially just revolves around knowing how to develop a risk assessment matrix, which is a template most often, and you just need to fit it in according to your findings within the financial statements and your financial analysis process. Investment management awareness, they need to know where, or not need is a tough word, but it's preferable ideally to have investment management, because through the risk and research, you do see rooms for you see areas that are areas of threat, but you also see rooms for improvement and development if that threat, is mitigated or removed. Pricing practices also, so costing and market analysis, and that is where the research part does come along. So you do a lot of market analysis, market studies to see how the entity, how you as a board can also continue and match up with the market changes that happen on a consistent basis. And also research methodology focused, whatever that methodology, just having a standardized way of using it helps in consolidating the data and the findings across the board, and helps in, comparing data and comparing findings when you unify the methodology used. Now for the KPIs, let's see the KPIs, it's the percentage of research progress. So at the beginning of every term, you may decide as a collectively as a board, what are the research projects, what are the market analysis, market studies that we are going to do. And accordingly, it's a KPI for the risk and research responsible to fulfill or continue progress on that front. The number of reports released could be the contingency planning, the risk assessments, so on and so forth, and the percentage of risk reduced or mitigated as well. So in each of these reports, it includes the risks, it includes what can we do to mitigate those risks and to avoid them, and then what is the next action step, or who is the responsible to take this action step. And the number, or rather percentage, and oftentimes of the analysis of financial statements done. Now, the benefits include developing decision-making skills, because that is the essence of, the risk and research. You study the data and then you and then you take a decision based off of that data. And enhanced analysis capabilities, since you analyze and study the statements, and hands-on research and reporting skills, which are very important. Now, for the chair's role, the chair is essentially a joker. So the chair has knowledge in each of the 4 areas. They often don't or aren't the people executing directly, but they have the knowledge in all of these areas. So their main responsibility, however, is to manage the team and ensure that the team is fulfilling their KPIs, the board is fulfilling their KPIs, and the progress on the project is, it's going well, all the projects are on track, and you're providing your team and your members and the board overall with the support, with the guidance they need to successfully execute what is expected of them. They also provide education and support as needed by team members and other stakeholders, as mentioned. So we now know what an ideal team consists of. How do we get that ideal team, and how do we get it on time? That is important. So as soon as you're elected, you have room around a month to get and build that team, essentially. So it starts with the launch of the application. So you launch the application. There is an application template that can be used by, it's a GFB application template used for EFB's applications. We'll talk about it in a few minutes. But as soon as you develop that application, which could take you between 2 to 3 days, 4 days, if you follow the template, should be less than that, but yes, giving yourself a buffer there. It is recommended to keep it for a week, maybe 10 days at the very most. And in these 10 days, marketing and outreach should be the focus. To ensure that there is a pipeline that can apply, that is applying, and that can actually handle the obligations of being a part of the EFB. So just consistent marketing, outreach. Marketing can be online marketing efforts through engaging with your entities, pages, official pages on Instagram, on Facebook, on whatever platforms you use, on engaging through word of mouth, just promoting or, enticing members to apply, or just to explain the EFB to them more, and see how that aligns with their personal aspirations. And then once the application closes, you filter the applications based off of completeness. So of course, incomplete applications do not get through. Personas who fit what you're looking for, do get through, and it's just a filtration process, and then you send them the shortlisted applicants an interview opportunity or an interview booking link. Interviews should ideally take 3 days at a max, plus or minus, whatever capacity or whatever like density of applications you have. But then again, interviews should not take more than an hour for each, just to assess how their attitude is towards being a part of the EFB, their work ethic, and their finance knowledge. And these are the 3 things that should be analyzed. And then interviews and then decisions are made accordingly. So overall, this should take a maximum of 2 weeks. It could take less. It could take 1 week in some instances. It may take more in some instances, but ideally keeping it between 2 weeks, if less, is the best option to go with. Now, that is not always the case. You might end up having a second round. You might even have a third round, a fourth round, and this is common. But this is to ensure that you do have a pipeline, and the reason for having a second round is to give more opportunities, more time for people to apply, to ensure that they are applying, and that would just cause a minute shift in some deadlines, some like allocated time frames, let's say. But overall, the application timeline should suit you, should suit what you're looking for to have within the entity finance board, and should suit a successful, or like help you build a successful team that could have a successful term. So again, as I mentioned, you may have a second, third, or even flash round to ensure having a stronger pipeline of the ideal talent structure. An extension of 5 days, at a maximum 10 days, is advisable. More than that may lead to a delay in the onboarding, which leads to delay in operations, which leads to a delay in everything. And it also leads to a delay for the generation to follow in the EFB. So it is a cascade of events when a small delay, or like a butterfly effect, when a small delay happens. So try your best not to. But again, if it is needed, then it is needed, and you would implement it to ensure you have a strong team that can carry the burden and carry, an EFB term successfully. Now, for the application booklet, if you access it over here, you can find you can essentially find all of the details and the template for the application that you can release for your entity finance board, and everything is yellow. In yellow is essentially for you to fill. So over here you can put a picture of yourself if you're the chair responsible. Sometimes it might be the MCVP responsible, but you do release it. Motivation letter welcoming the applicants and whomever is interested in the application process. You also mentioned what is EFB, because it's often misconstrued. Not many people know that an EFB exists, let alone what an EFB is. The structure, again, you change the structure according to what you have. This is the ideal, the structure to have, but sometimes you may merge two vacancies or 2 positions together. You may separate them. Stuff like that happen all the time. And then the job description of each one individually. Over here, the timeline, and then what else? The requirements, what you want them to have, what is the deadline, and then the questionnaire. So you decide what the questions that you want are, what are the general questions you want for all of them, what are the specific questions, and what are finally the contact details for them to contact you if they have any questions. Now, this is for the application booklet. Also, once you know they have applied, you finish the application process, everyone is onboarded. There is a transition tool over here. And this transition tool just gives you the overall checklist for the things that you need. So you have over here the chair transition, but then you have the audit area transition. What are the things that they need to know? What are the things that they need to follow? The data management area, accounting area, and risk and research. So the four main areas or focus areas within EFB. Okay. Oops. And with that being said, we've actually reached the end of this. I hope you do have a successful term. You have a successful, efforts in recruiting a strong team and you onboard them successfully. Now, for further details of each transition topic can be found within the EFB Academy. But if you need any help at any point, you can refer back to your consultancies responsible or the consultancy's manager at that point. So thank you for watching and I hope you have a nice day.